A few people here, but it's 3 o'clock. So, Jeff, do you know where Dottie is?
Yes, she should be here in just a second.
Okay. We'll go ahead and start while our city attorney is not here yet, but she's on her way. It won't be for just a minute.
She's here.
So, oh, there she is. So we have a full quorum. All of the council members are present, and welcome to all of the guests that are here. We're glad to see you. And as we start out every meeting, we're going to start with an invocation. And Pastor John Duncan from the Church of Horseshoe Bay is here to pray with us. So let's stand and then we'll do the pledges.
Let's pray. Lord, today we thank you for this day. It's a beautiful day, Lord, and we thank you for your grace and strength, and Lord, how you provide for us. Lord, we know in a room this size, everyone has burdens and concerns, and we bring those before you. And I think today, Lord, too, we pray for those who are in Ruidoso. I know some Horseshoe Bay people and the fires, and pray for firefighters and the safety of those that are there. And we lift that situation up to you. And Lord, we thank you for our council. We thank you for the city. We thank you for the privilege of living here in Horseshoe Bay. And we pray your blessing not only in our own lives, but also on the city. And we ask your guidance. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you so much. Thanks, John. And let me just add to John's prayer. I certainly, we all need to be thinking about our friends with homes in Ruidoso. I lived in the mountains for 37 years, and it's very scary, those forest fires are. So hopefully the firefighters will be able to control it, and nobody will get hurt, and property damage will be minimized, but they certainly need our prayers. And another thing I wanted to just let you know that one thing that I'm doing on July the 11th, several of us are going to go to a meeting with the Hill Country Leadership Coalition, and it's the mayors from varying cities, and we're going to be talking about legislative initiatives. So we're going to try to come up with a combined front for the cities to go to the legislature and share our concerns. So that's something that I'm up to. Now for other announcements, Chief Fowler.
Mayor Council, Doug Fowler, your fire chief. Aaron Stewart is receiving a 5-year award. Aaron has been a member of the Horseshoe Bay Fire Department for 5 years. He works on C shift as a firefighter and engineer for over 4 years and promoted lieutenant of the A shift in January of this year. He has been a professional firefighter for 19 years. Prior to working Horseshoe Bay, Aaron worked for the cities of Belton, Brownwood, and Waxahachie. Aaron is a proud husband of 18 years to his wife, Tori, and together they have 8 children.
Oh, gosh.
God bless them. Aaron holds an advanced firefighter certification, driver, operator, pumper, engineer, Swiftwater 1, and Fire Officer 1, as well as several other rescue certifications. He will be attending with other members of the department the General Rescuer course for the rescue courses later this year. Upon completion, he will assist the tech rescue team for firefighters in Horseshoe Bay. He holds an EMT advanced certification. Aaron enjoys spending time with his family and is proud to serve the Horseshoe Bay community.
Thank you.
Aaron, congratulations.
I don't know if I'm more impressed by all those certifications or 8 children.
One more time.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations, Aaron, and thank you so much. So the next item on our agenda is a recognition of Cody Martin and Travis Massengill. Unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, they are not able to be here today, so we're going to pass that off until July. We'll do that again in July. So the next item on the agenda is going to be Jason Graham's going to handle something important.
Mayor, Council, thank you. I'd like to recognize Paul Nelson. Come on up. Paul was promoted to the Assistant Police Chief position in May 24. Chief Nelson joined the Horseshoe Bay Police Department in 2020, and he served as patrolman, sergeant, and lieutenant. He had previously served the Burnett Police Department for 23 years as an investigator and 13 years as the police chief in Burnett. Chief Nelson is a graduate of the Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas, Leadership Command College, and holds a Master Peace Officer's license through the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. Chief Nelson's wife, Jenny, is the assistant principal at the Burnett Middle School. They have 3 children who live in Burnett.
Thank you very much and congratulations. Do you want to say anything?
Just want to thank you, and I'm just ready to serve the citizen Horseshoe Bay and council and mayor and city manager in the new position. And it's all about a team, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, thank you. As you know, it's a wonderful department, and Chief Graham's a great leader. So thank you so much for taking that position.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, we have something else to brag about. Who's going to talk about that, Jeff or Molly? Molly? Okay.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Molly Jester, Finance Director. On May 31st of this year, the Data Analysis and Transparency Division of the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts Office, they completed their annual review of the transparency information posted in support of Horseshoe Bay's Traditional Finance Transparency Star Award. They verified that the financial transparency information continued to meet the criteria for this prestigious recognition. Our Transparency Star Award remains valid and will continue to be listed on the Comptroller's website. The city has received this prestigious award since fiscal year 19, which is 6 years in a row. The city was also awarded the GFOA Award, the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award, for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023. The city has received this award since fiscal year 18, which is 7 years in a row. It is displayed right there behind Jan. We've got 7 little circles. And Horseshoe Bay is one of approximately 200 recipients in the state of Texas to receive this award, and one of 1,800 recipients in the United States/Canada. Congrats to the finance team.
I just want to reiterate, we're one of 1,800 recipients in the United States and Canada, which is 90,000 local governments. So for us to make the top 1,800, that's really something to be proud of, and that we've been doing this consistently. I think everybody has really appreciated the transparency and the responsibility that this council and this staff has taken in managing the budget. And so congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're at public comments. There's one person who signed up for public comments, but it applies to an agenda item. So when we get to that agenda item, I'll call for that public comment. That's the way that works. And if I forget It's item 8G, so y'all remind me. Don't let me forget to do that. Okay, so now Rick Williams is going to talk about Escondido effluent water request.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have the clicker? Slides. Okay, Mayor, Council. So in the packet, you'll see the Escondido reached out officially to us to request purchasing excess effluent from the sewer plant. As y'all know, currently all the treated effluent we pump to several golf courses, and then also we have Freedom Ranch and then our own, what we call the hayfield at the sewer plant. So what their request, it's in the packet. It outlines their official request and then a proposed contract with a cost that they would purchase the effluent for, et cetera. And so we wanted to put this as a presentation item, then to see feedback and if y'all wanted us to pursue what y'all's direction may be for that. The gist of it is currently is the bottom 80% of the ponds, say the bottom specifically, we are under contract with the Horseshoe Bay Resort to provide that to them. They typically use all of that in a year, and then there is what we call the surplus amount. That's from 80% to 100% that builds in the fall and winter months. It is usually used during the summer, but that is essentially what, under our current contract, Escondido would be requesting purchase of that. Some provisions of the contract with Horseshoe Bay Resort that Jeff wanted me to mention is they are required. There's a pipeline project on here on the map. It's reusing a 12-inch line that used to feed the sewer plant. It would return effluent to the Summit Rock Golf Course. Yep, there you go. Perfect. Contractually, Horseshoe Bay Resort is required to put that in. While we were building the sewer plant, that occurred under Jeff. It was not a good time for them to do that while we were still into construction. So we did allow them to forestall that a few years. But in conversation with them, they still do plan to do that. I think Jeff has more details on exactly when they want to do that. But all that to say, we wanted to bring this to your attention. They are offering to pay a nominal fee for the effluent. But at this time, it would just be the 20%. And that's what I had. Do y'all have questions or yes?
Will that fulfill all their needs, the 20%?
No.
So they're still going to have to supplement.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think what happened is during the time of drought that we just went through, and now we got some rains. Everybody along the river, especially the golf course, were realizing that if they start curtailing water back, that was going to affect them. So everybody's looking for additional resources and possibility. We even got a call from somebody that was on Barton Creek Lakeside asking for the same thing if we had available capacity. Even though they would haul it. So we have this contract, so we don't really have the capacity, but we do have this 20% that in past we did not have that taken away, and we were kind of locked in. And then about 10 years ago, we got a pipeline that went across the road to feed Freedom Ranch to take that reserve amount out of there. We went back and renegotiated a contract. We were looking at possibly putting the water in the creek and flowing it down to Escondido about 8-9 years ago, which will require a change in the law that is now in the Highland Lakes, which you cannot put effluent in the law into the lakes. But we were going to do what they call a bed and banks, which is run it down the creek and then take it out in Escondido for them to do that. But at the time, the resort had pushed back on us, so that was their water. And so we kind of dropped that project because TCQ wasn't going to go forward as long as we had that. We renegotiated a contract with resort and said, that we need to get rid of that capacity. So we had 400 acres across the street, so we could put it over there, but it wasn't really beneficial application of things. And so when we renegotiated a contract, part of that contract was to build a pipeline and go over to 17. And so I proceeded to get those two golf courses, Summit Rock and Slick Rock, on our golf course or effluent permit. So they're on there. And so the intention has always been to connect on to Blister Gold and build that pipeline. So we had the capacity that would go to Summit Rock. That has not been built. I've been kind of telling them you need to kind of move forward to that. And in the last year or so. Kind of remind them recently again that needed to happen. But in the meantime, Escondido came to us and asked about the capacity and if we could work with them, what they could do. And so, they had kind of offered to pay up and sent the request to go to the council to discuss this. And that's kind of where we are now, is bringing it to the council. We're not planning on taking any action, but we wanted to kind of let you know there was a request out there, and that, the pipeline is still on the books. I've been told that they are going to move forward with the pipeline soon. So, that would solve the problem for us, because we do have to have a place to put our effluent for our future. That was kind of our game plan. But since we did have some period of time where there was additional capacity, that was why I think that Escondido thought maybe they could get that capacity. Problem is that capacity comes in the dead of winter, so that would have to be probably stored capacity for their springtime, because during the summer, it's like Rick said, once we get into this time of year, it starts dropping like a rocket. There's really none available during the time of year when they probably would need it most.
So am I to understand that the contract with the resort required part of that contract for them to get the effluent, which they don't pay for,
That's right.
is that they were going to build this pipeline?
Yes.
And the contract doesn't specify when the pipeline has to be
It
built?
does specify, and it's time for it to be built.
Okay, so without that pipeline, then they're not in compliance with
They
the
won't be in
contract.
compliance, yes.
So we would be in a position that we could do whatever we wanted to.
Yes, but I will tell you that I did give them a pass for a time while we were building the sewer plant. And so for the last year, we've been talking about bringing this back up. So they are talking with their engineer. I've talked to their engineer about it, and it's moving forwards as far as I know.
Well, then I mean, it seems to me that in all fairness, if the contract needs to be complied with, and if not, then we need to look at our community as a whole and see who deserves that water.
Right. Yeah. And so I will go back and verify 100% and tell them that we need something in writing that gives a timeline of repairing that or getting that line constructed. But in the meantime, we will continue to log what water we have available, and then we'll see options. But, that's why we wanted to bring it to the council, because there was a little bit of conflict with the contract. And if we move forwards with that, then are selling the water, that would be something we'd have to renegotiate contract or
So,
do something with.
Jeff, if is Escondido interested in the 20% that's only going to be available in the winter?
They are.
They
here,
are.
but if they can speak.
And
there.
how would they, would they be responsible for doing the creek to get it there? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That would take us going to the state and requesting a modification to the rule, which is not a guarantee. But the other thing would be to work with the resort and see if they could tap onto the pipeline and be able to get capacity off the pipeline and work with the resort on that too.
Okay. Dwight?
The resort pays nothing for the water now?
That's correct. Well, we have no option. We have to get rid of the water. In a lot of places, parts of the state, you can put it in the lake, and it's a replenishment of the water in the water supply. But in our part of the state, because of the purity of the lakes in the past, they passed a law, basically Austin-driven law, that we could not put it in the lake. And so this law has been around since 1984. We've been in compliance with it. So basically, any new developments, they pretty much have to irrigate, find a place to irrigate. We've been blessed with 5 golf courses here, so we have a place to put it. Other places they put it on cedar, trees or try to use it beneficial use. But we try to use every bit of it beneficial use. But we do have that relief valve, which is the Freedom Ranch, we do put that water on. That as far as that amount of water, it would be better if it did go to the golf course. But getting it there is the real kind of trick. So.
Frank?
How much do we dispose of in Freedom Ranch?
5% maybe?
Maybe 5% on a huge year, which that's
not during the summer.
No, sir. No, that's in the the only time we really ever relief anything is in the winter or really rainy springs. So this spring, we did relief a little bit of it because the temperatures have been lower and we got rain.
So, all right, to go forward with Escondido, we can't do that until the resort does.
So we could, under our current contract, if the contract doesn't change and the resort were to build the pipeline, the top 20% would be all we could really negotiate with. And so that,
Yeah, so
yes, sir.
I'm just saying, to me, it seems crazy to put anything to Freedom Ranch, which is
Correct.
right, yes, yeah, agree.
The question is, how quickly could we give Escondido whatever we can give them?
I would say if y'all agree to a contract and then it would be up to them to build the pipeline, it's probably a year at most aggressive. It's got to be permitted. And then that's one of the things I'd have to look into is I don't believe Escondido Golf Course is on our land application.
No,
permit.
we'd have to
we'd have to
apply
modify
for a
that.
reuse permit to put them on there, which we could do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's about 90-day process. We wouldn't put them on our permit because we already have enough capacity at Summit Rock for that. But we could do
Realistically,
a
it would not
reuse.
benefit them this summer, even if we could go right now. The resort will draw down below 80% in the next few weeks. It was
Yeah.
my estimate.
That's option A.
I'm trying to see, I do not see any downside.
I don't
Well-
see any, it's not going to cost us anything except just the trouble of going through some permits. And I agree with
Well,
Frank that, Escondido is part of our city. And if we can assist them, I think there's no reason not to. But, I do think the conversation needs to be with the resort to see when they build that pipeline, it's going to go right by you. Money's money. It seems like there should be a way that we could, the old irrigation ditch, you get to open your gate or close your gate and there's meters on it. And I don't know how it works. This is way over my head, but
yeah, we would have to figure out the logistics because one of the things we talked about and what we were doing probably 8 years ago, we were changing the law. And we had that really all but changed, but then we had some conflicts and it couldn't change. So we have to go back to the process, see if we could change the law to do a bed and banks process. Obviously, we'd be working with them to kind of cover that cost to do
if
that.
you do it with a pipeline,
Pipeline, or we could drop it in Pecan Creek and take it out in Pecan Creek
but
before it gets to the lake.
pipeline, you wouldn't have to change the law for, would you?
That's right. Yes, you're correct.
So, you've got a couple of avenues to explore. So I'm hearing that the council is supportive of,
I see
Of-
that.
Would you like me to pursue, or Jeff? We probably need to get a contract to Dottie to look through, but do you want us to?
yeah, I doubt if this is the one that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but
We haven't really wrote anything in it or negotiated. We just wanted to bring it y'all to first get your take on it before we move forward, so we can.
Well, it doesn't benefit the city to keep the 20% at all. We got to get rid of it anyway.
That's right.
There's no downside.
Yeah. And what is the nominal fee that they're offering? Do we know?
So they just threw a number out there. I told them raw water out of the lake's $170 an acre foot, which is 300,000 gallons. So they just put a cost in of 100. We sell. I'll run through math real fast, but it's about 600 acre feet a year is about how much total pumpage from the sewer plant. So at that, it's 600 and $100 an acre, but $60,000. So their section would be 20% of that is 12,000. So it's minuscule on that cost at that rate, but it is something. Obviously,
Well,
the
it's-
capital cost for pipes and all that.
I don't think we'd be doing it for the monetary benefit. I think we'd be doing it because they're part of our community.
Yes, ma'am.
And,
And when you don't have the water is very valuable.
yeah,
Correct.
So,
Well, the fact that Freedom Ranch is zero.
yeah, that's right. It's just going on hay.
And we discharge some onto our site too, which we're permitted to do, but there is zero. Freedom Ranch has hay fields, actual hay fields. Ours is just waste.
Freedom Ranch at all.
And that was the intention of putting the pipeline to Summit Rock to help us kind of with that. So this is an
Okay.
alternate solution.
Like-
to that.
did you have another comment?
Yes, what does Escondido do with their sewage now?
The sewer is treated at our plant, and then the effluent is sent to the golf course. And we do have another contract with Llano County Mud, and they take a very small percentage of that for their golf course. But they put the pipeline in and two in from us, and they pay for us to treat.
We have that. If that's ever something you're interested in, that number is tied into my utility report. I can break it out on my site.
Okay.
Probably would be wise.
So, you guys should just move forward and explore this some more with Escondido and see if we can work together and make it work. So, good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on to a public hearing. And this is Silver Rock Phase 1 final plat of 12 lots out of Silver Rock Phase preliminary plat. I'm going to open the public meeting at 3:25. And which one of you wants to speak as a staff, from the staff?
I thought I did a good job, but Sandra did not agree, so she wants to present this one. This month.
And just to make it clear, it's a public hearing. So you said
Did
open
I
public,
say open the public hearing at 3:25?
you said public meeting.
Meeting, oh.
So just to make sure.
I have that.
it's in the
I have that.
minutes correctly.
Okay,
Close
public
enough.
hearing at 3:25. Yeah, the whole thing's a public meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Dottie.
Good afternoon. The item on the agenda is the Phase 1 of the Silver Rock final plat. The applicant had been hoping that this plat would be ready for this meeting. However, the application is not complete because we are still waiting for posting of the construction bond that is required prior to final plat approval. And we're also waiting for payment of the impact fees, which are required at final plat approval. Having not received any of these items today, we are going to ask that this item be continued for 1 month to our July meeting to give them and the applicant another month to attempt to get the fiscal that they need to gather.
Okay, have we established the number of LUEs for determining the impact fee?
Yeah, we accepted their engineer's estimate of 440 LUEs based on our impact fee study. And so the other item with that is they're probably going to request some sort of impact fee credit. Our ordinance intentionally does not address that, so it can be a council item for y'all to decide. So there'll probably be some credit they'll request for y'all to consider. And then obviously we'll.
And this is against the water, the pipe that they're putting in along 71, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So will that come up in July as well?
It's on them, we hope. But truthfully, if speaking freely, I think August is more reasonable. But once it's open, we're going to continue to keep it.
Okay,
So,
okay. Is there anyone here from Silver Rock that would like to speak? Nope.
Make a motion.
Council members, do you have any questions? Dottie?
So the rules on plats have changed. So you can place conditions on plats, but if you postpone it, you have to get the applicant's agreement for postponement. So since they're not here to postpone on the record, you can either deny it or place conditions on it that it
I think the applicant has agreed.
have they agreed?
Well, there's two issues with that. One is that the applicant has agreed, and the other one is that this application is not complete.
Okay.
And my understanding was the 30 days applied to a completed application. This application is not considered complete, but they have also agreed to it.
Okay.
They didn't even come to the meeting today.
Yeah, as long as those conditions
So
are
we're good.
in the
Okay.
record.
Okay, so yes, I would like a motion to continue this public hearing, please.
I move to deny, to continue this agenda item to our July 16th, 2024 city council meeting at 3 p.m.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember King. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, a second from Councilmember Morgan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to continue this agenda item until the July 16th meeting. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Rick again, appointment of a chair to the members of the Business Regulations Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the committee that we voted on last month to form. So I have in my staff report, and then in the enclosures, you have several applications for members and then also the chair. So what I'm coming today to recommend is that I recommend that we appoint the members that applied as members, and then for council consideration, I'm recommending Rusty Stout be appointed as chair of this committee. We did provide the charter, the approved charter, and then scope to all the applicants. There is one applicant in there, Mr. Ryan Town, that applied for P&Z. He asked that his application be forwarded to this. He did check. He hadn't lived in the city for 12 months at the time of P&Z, but he has now lived here for a full year as of May 1. So that's the only things I think I noted that were notable in that. But
Okay, so there are 5 people.
yes, ma'am.
Okay,
There is one member on the ACC that we had talked to, but he did not get his application in time for this. So next month, we may request if he gets it in for y'all.
that one's still a possibility.
I think so. He seemed to be interested, but we did not get an application back in time.
Okay, good. Okay.
Mr. Stout is present.
Yep, right.
If y'all want to, I didn't see any of the other committee members for that, but if y'all have questions for him, he's who staff has recommended. And it wasn't just me. I talked to development staff and then also the former director. So we came to consensus on these.
Rusty, would you like to say anything? Not unless they're asking. Okay. Dwight? Council members, do you have any questions for Rick? Okay, then I don't know if anyone wrote down these names.
I got 'em.
Okay, you got them? Good.
I move we appoint Rusty Stout as chair, and as members, Tom Klassen, Greg Frazier, Terry Newman, Rusty Stout, we already have, and Ryan Town.
Okay, so I have a motion from Councilmember King to appoint Rusty Stout as the chairman, Tom Clausen, Terry Neiman, Greg Frazier, and Ryan Town as the committee members. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Jones. All in favor? Opposed? Great, thank you. Congratulations, and thank you so much, Rusty, for being willing to do this really important job. This is something that this committee is going to be looking at, the building codes, the whole entire building code section of our ordinances, in addition to some other things that we're trying to bring some efficiencies and changes to the way that the building codes work, so that it all works better for everyone. And this is a big job, and these people have a lot of expertise that they're bringing to the table. So we have high expectations that we're going to come up with something really good on this. Thank you very much, Rusty. And item B, Molly.
Move that one. Oh, not me moving this.
We're on page 39, council members.
Or 6.
36, okay.
So it's 36.
36, okay, yeah.
39 is that stuff that doesn't balance.
Okay, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. It's Molly Jester, Finance Director. I'd like to present ordinance number 2024-15. It's an ordinance approving and adopted amendments to the City of Horseshoe Bay, the adopted budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 23, and ending on September 30th, 2024. So city staff is requesting budget and reclassification amendments to the general fund, the utility fund, the Summit Rock PID fund, the capital fund, the police department asset forfeiture fund, and the vehicle replacement fund. The budget reclassification amendments, they are necessary to change back to the previous presentation format used in fiscal year 23 and before. Returning to this previous budget presentation format will bring back consistency, clarity, and familiarity. Examples of budget amendments include administrative fees and the Summit Rock PID. So there are 4 pages to the slides. It's 36, 37, 38, and 39. And if I could please just go through all 4 pages, because that's the whole presentation. And then if you have questions, you can ask after that. So Exhibit A is the currently adopted budget presentation, which represents a departure from what we've seen in previous years. All right, so how do you get the laser?
It should be the down arrow.
The
Oh,
laser.
the laser in the bottom.
Pointer.
Bottom one,
She's pointing it, but it's not.
bottom button.
You have to hold it down.
Oh, that is.
You've got one of these.
Thank you. There there we go. It was like shining me.
Nothing to it.
No one told me. Okay. As you can tell, this is what we currently have for presentation. That is not consistency between the years. If you look at transfer out, not consistent. If you look at our revenues, less expenditures, not consistent. And then if you also look up here under administration, very low. So this is what we currently have. And as mentioned, it's not consistent with what we've done in the previous. This is Exhibit B. You can see after we make the amendments I'm going to talk about, it's going to be consistent. It's all zero for all the years. If you look up here, this number has increased, which is more consistent. If you look down here, it's consistent because we all have numbers. Exhibit C is going to be the budget amendments. There are two types. I'm also just going over the general fund out of all the funds I mentioned because they're all consistent. So there's two types of amendments. We have our regular budget amendments, and we have budget amendments that are going to be due to reclassification. The last page, which is on 39, is the summary after all of the amendments. So if you recall, Exhibit A is what we currently have. We've got a number here. We've net to zero. We've got a low administrative fee up here. We had some budget amendments made in April 2024, which have already been approved, which with those amendments, we have an adopted current budget at April 16th for the amounts in this column for the general fund. As mentioned on Exhibit C, there's two types of amendments. One of them was reclassification to return to the presentation. If you recall, this $600,000 was not consistent between the years. We're actually just going to reclass that up to the administrative fee. We're also on this line, if you recall, the budget nets to zero, whereas in the previous years it did not. There was an entry for $862,000 included in this number, which zeroes out the budget. So we're going to remove that. As you can tell, we're immediately going to add $862,000 to the bottom line. Another amendment we have for the general fund is we're going to increase our administration fee. It was originally $600,000, and after redoing the calculations, it should be $841,830. So we have an amendment for $241,830. If you sum all this up, we come to Exhibit B, which is what we're presenting, which will be more consistent with what we see in the past. I'm going to go back to Exhibit B if you're visual, so you can see. Again, Exhibit B, it used to have $600,000 here. We've moved it up to this line, plus we added $241,000 to this line. You go down here, this used to be $1 million. It used to be $862,000 higher. We have removed that. We now have a net number of $1,035,941 to the general fund. As you can tell, it looks consistent with previous years, looks consistent with previous years. So that's for the general fund. All of the other funds are very similar. Are there any questions on the general fund and I guess any other of the amendments? Yes.
Does this mean we'll win the award again for presentation?
You know, we had a different finance director, and he decided that he wanted to use transfers. It's just a different way of presenting the budget. It's not that it's wrong. He just used those transfers, and we didn't realize it, honestly, until October. And so, but we wanted to see what our budget deficit or excess budget was every year. So it was important, go up the next one. It was important to see that our revenue is budgeted to exceed expenses by 1,035,000, rather than just saying we spent everything we had, but it was really just hidden in transfers. He didn't discuss it with Jeff. He didn't discuss it with me, and he didn't discuss it with Mayor Kleinsmith. So we were so hung up in the numbers that we just didn't discover that he had done that until October. So we've been talking about this, but it wasn't wrong. The only budget adjustment that we're making is $241,000 between the general fund and the utility fund is administrative fee. And the general fund is the only one we're talking about. The rest of this is just presentation. So
Wally trial ballooned this on me, and it makes sense.
good,
So,
good,
okay.
good. Okay. Or John, you've got it. We've got them covered.
All right, well, that was it. If there's not any other questions,
So the only substantive change is 241,830. Is that
Yes.
correct?
To the general fund.
To the general fund.
That was,
Coming out of another.
yeah, that was basically reclassifying the accounts to make sure that utility fund paid for the support positions.
Yeah.
You know, HR and finance.
Do you want to talk about the utility fund and the summit pit or not?
I wasn't planning on
Okay,
it. The
okay.
slides were just,
Well, there are some actual budget amendments, changes to the utility fund on the next page to the tune of, it really has to do with the summit pit.
Page is that?
they're not a part of
We don't
the
have a slide for that.
presentation.
So I think in the packet, council, there is an actual change in the budget of $48,000 between the summit PID and the utility fund. That's just we just got
We're
better
just getting
numbers on
more
what the summit
assessments.
PID was going to be, and that goes into the utility fund. So those are the only two real budget changes that we've got. Do you guys have any more questions? I'll entertain a motion then.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-15 as presented by staff.
I'll actually second that.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Morgan, a second by Councilmember Hosea. Any questions? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Molly. Okay, where are we here?
Page 47.
Okay, we're ready for Ray. He's going to talk about our drought contingency plan. Thank you, Ray.
Mayor, council members. In June of 2015, it was determined that staff would update council every summer on the condition of Highland Lakes levels and make recommendations on what drought contingency level that we would stay in or move to. On April 16th of 2024, the city moved to stage 2 of the new LCRA drought contingency plan. Staff is requesting to move to stage 1 of that same plan effective immediately upon council approval. This year, June, lake levels combined of Buchanan and Travis are at 1.1 combined. So that's 1.1 million gallons, or acre feet of combined storage, effectively being 56%. In the past, it was determined that the new stage 2 that we are currently in would be once a week watering with up to 15 hours of that once a week. Stage 1 would bring us into back to 2 days per week of watering with the same amount of time. We believe that it is a sound judgment to continue to promote the best conservative practices for irrigation and erosion control to move back to stage 1 of that plan, continuing to actively monitor for compliance. We will update you this summer as the summer goes through these summer months because at the date of this request, we were at 1,120,434 combined acre feet. Again, and today we are at 1,116,050 acre feet. So it is moving. We're going back down again, but with the rain events that we are scheduled to have from this tropical storm, hopefully that we can get it up above in the San Saba area so we can put some more water back into Buchanan and Lake Travis combined. Now, there is another part of this that would bring us out of the drought contingency, and that would be moving up from out into 1.4 million gallons. That would take us out of the drought contingency. However, that would still keep us in of the twice a week watering. So,
What would that do? I mean, what would 1.4 million, what would that change if we're still going to be watering twice a week? Would it change fountains or I don't know?
I think what it would do would be allow, there's some 2 dates. One is in January, one is in July, that LCRA looks at available water in the lakes. And if they're above 1.4, then they will release water downstream.
Downstream water, oh, okay.
So that's the real trigger. But it also goes back to firm water customers to go back to no real irrigation or no restrictions on irrigation. Basically, lakes are full. They say use what you want, but we hadn't done that since 2016. We stay on the 2 times a week.
Well, Ray said that in the new LCR go ahead, Ray.
right. It was 1.4. The firm water customers, we still have limitations on irrigation.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's because
Yeah.
they changed them. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Dwight, did you have a
No
question?
more than twice a week and
Yeah.
15 hours.
That's right. That just changed.
Do you have any idea how much Travis went up during this time? Is some of that later water out of Buchanan been flowing into Travis? They're raising it.
David and I were talking about that. I'll bring David up to discuss that a little bit.
Sure, Lake Travis did receive quite a bit of inflow. That lake is a long, skinny lake, and so inflows don't look as fantastic on that. But from what I can see, Travis actually raised through the rain event that brought Buchanan up, actually brought Travis up a little over 2.5 feet, which is really pretty big because that lake is more than twice the size of Buchanan.
So that would be water that was in Buchanan mostly that came on that. That's
Yes,
the
sir.
major feed.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
So it wasn't because we were sucking it all out up here.
No.
Right.
Any other questions? Yeah. Susan Patton, our representative from LCRA is here. Thank you, Susan, for being here. And I know that your organization has worked very hard on all of this, and we always are happy to partner with y'all and appreciate the support that the LCRA gives to Horseshoe Bay. So thank you very much. Is there anything else?
Continue to pray for rain.
We need a motion on this, council.
I move to approve the City of Horseshoe Bay's drought contingency plan stage be moved from stage 2 to 1.
Second.
Okay, motion from Councilmember Jones and a second from Councilmember King. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, Ray. Thank you very much. Okay, and now we're going to move into building permit extensions. Christina Reinhardt's going to tell us about those.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. The first one is 39 Applehead Island Drive. I don't see the applicant here. They are requesting a 4-3 permit for 60 days, the cost of $10,000. I don't really know where they are in their process because they've passed what I would call their semifinal being wallboard. And when I look at their project, it looks like it's in custom finish out right now. So I guess 60 days is going to be reasonable for them to complete in that time frame. It'd be an assumption. I thought they would be here to speak about it. I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's what they're requesting, a fourth for 60 days at $10,000.
Okay. Any questions? Someone might want to make a motion on,
To approve Westway Custom Builders requesting from the fourth re-permit for 39 Applehead Drive for 60 days for $10,000.
thank you. Motion from Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Morgan. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries. Okay, Christina, do you want to move to,
1902 Bay West Boulevard.
uh-huh,
I'm not seeing the applicant here either. They were notified, all these,
wait just a minute.
And
Yes.
Mayor and
That's- that-
council, I
hold on.
had some legal questions.
I do.
From the mayor on this, and so if you would like to move that to the end of the
Right.
agenda for executive session, I wrote a motion, but for now, you can just allow the mayor to grant her request to move it to the end of the agenda for executive session.
So what Dottie is saying is we're not going to discuss this one right now. We're going to move it to the end of the agenda after monthly reports because I requested some consultation with our attorney on this issue, and we will come out of executive session and vote on this one. Is that,
Bay West.
this is the one, item E. Yeah. Okay, sorry, Christina.
That's
So
okay. I understand.
let's go to item F.
172 Westgate Loop. Yes, this gentleman, this is the builder here. If you have any questions for him, he is requesting a third, standard 60 days, $5,000. Want to update him on your status of your, or, yeah, you can come up. So you feel that 60 days is reasonable to complete your project?
You know, I'll just tell you the same thing that we always tell people at this point. In our penalty schedule or our fee schedule, 60 days is $5,000, 75 days is $6,250. But if you end up needing that extra 15 days and you were going to go for a fourth permit, that fourth permit for 30 days would cost $7,500. So if you think you might need 75 days, then you might want to think about going for the 75 days, which is 6,250. Because if you end up, and this has been our policy, if you end up only needing 60 days, we'll refund the difference to you. I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear what he said.
He would go for the seven.
Okay,
For the, yeah,
okay.
for the additional, for the 75 days for 6,250.
Smart.
Okay, so then I need, anything else, Christina?
That's it on
So-
that one.
Okay, I need a motion from council on,
I move to approve W Trading LLC requests third repermit of 172 Westgate Loop for 75 days at $6,250.
have a motion from Councilmember Hosia. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Jones. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, and the last one. Now, when do I do public comments? After Christina makes the report?
It's either if they would like to speak first before the report, or if they want to speak after.
Okay. Who is,
Traditionally, staff, you ask staff to speak first and then open.
okay, do you? Okay. Why don't we get Christina's report and then I'll call on you to make your public comment.
So-
I'm the representative. I just.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay,
I'm
all right.
signed in under public
Okay, yeah, let Christina give her report, and then if you want to say something, Ken. Okay, thank you.
1217 Apache Tiers. They're on the agenda for a 30-day extension at $7,500. Their current repermit doesn't expire until Friday, this Friday, 6/21. They've already had one building final. They have they failed it, unfortunately, small minor items. Their reinspection scheduled for tomorrow. I think I've already seen proof that those items have been corrected, so I expect them to pass that. They have two other little hurdles to get across, but I think it's reasonable to expect them to be CO'd or at least attempt CO by Friday. So I would say the extension could be granted, and then if they need it, we require it. If they don't need it, then we don't charge them.
Okay. And is your name Tony?
Tori.
Tori, okay.
Yes. I'm Tori. I'm the permitting specialist for Sobranik and Holt Custom Homes. And what Christina said is exactly correct. This is strictly precautionary for us. We just want to make sure that we've got all of our bases covered in the event that anything catastrophic happens.
Okay. It's very reasonable, I think. And hopefully you'll get it completed and you won't need this extension. Does any council members, do you have any questions? Can I have a motion?
I move to approve Zembic and Holt Custom Homes requested 4-3 permit for 1217 Apache Tiers for 30 days for $7,500.
If we need.
Thank you. Motion from Councilmember Morgan. Is there a second? From Councilmember King. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Council.
So that brings us to the consent agenda. Council members, do you have anything you'd like to have removed from the consent agenda? Okay, then I'll take a motion on that.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, a motion from Councilmember King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Morgan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So are there monthly reports? Thank you.
Yes, I was going to ask Tim to come up and report on a bid opening yesterday for street seal coat.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We did, as Jeff said, had a bid opening for our seal coating for this year. We had budgeted $820 in the budget for this year, and the bid came in at $794. So we had several people very interested in bidding. We ended up with one bid. So
You said 840 and 794?
$794 and change. So $795.
Good. Okay. That's $46,000.
Yeah. And I didn't get to mention the other day at the president's meeting, the restrooms are expected to be delivered on 8/26.
On 8/26?
Yes, ma'am. So we're moving right along with that. We'll get the pavilion ordered mid-July, which will give them time to set the new restrooms before we take down the old. Still right on track with all that.
Great. Okay. I think that's going to be a nice upgrade and
Kids have been
improvement.
holding that for a long time.
Yes, sir. That's why we're not going to take them down yet.
Yeah.
Y'all have any other questions?
Is this all monthly reports?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Is there anything on any of the monthly reports that any of you put in that are out of budget? I couldn't find anything, but I just wondered if there's anything that's over or under or big time under, or anything needs to be noted on the financial.
I think there are some line items that are probably gone over, are getting close to going over, just because a lot of the things that we do for maintenance, we do during the winter time. And so they come up kind of first like that. So if you look at that, they're getting close to the end. I know we did have some work in the water plant. We wanted to make sure we were prepped for summer. So some things did go over for that. Is there anything else that y'all could think of?
I think the overall bottom line, we're in good shape, but yeah, some of the individual line items, M&R plant, those are ones.
Seasonal type stuff.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And I did have one update on a project. I thought about it after you said that, but we have the meeting Friday with HDR Engineering for the initial design report for the West Water Plant expansion. So I can update that in the next council meeting, what comes out of that. But y'all will see it in the workshop too. So,
You know, I marked one thing and it's in the utilities on M&R for the building.
Yes.
It was 26. We spent 26,000 and our budget was 12,500. Did something happen?
He is miscoded. Yeah, I think that was the AC. Does that sound right? Yeah. So we had an AC unit go out in the lower MCC motor control room at the pump, so it can go to building or M&R plant. I think it'll be recoded to M&R plants where it should have been. So that's all.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Very critical piece of equipment.
Yeah, it was very expensive.
Yes.
Do we have any kind of report on the city hall?
Sure.
Is that okay to do that? Mike?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
staff
We,
report.
for the last month, we've been going through cost numbers that they presented us. We have been able to identify many parts of their contract that we're either going to take on or find ways to reduce cost. For example, furniture. We've found a way they were going to kind of go with their vendor. We've gone with several, looked at different vendors for our furniture. We found TDC actually does a lot of the furniture and signage and stuff. And we were able to find significant savings by taking those back in our own hands and doing those. The fire department has done a really good job on Fire Station 2 on taking on some of the things that were in the contract, finding ways. I really applaud Doug and his group for really doing that, trying to find ways to doing that. So we're at about 90% design plans now, which when it gets to this point, it goes to the CMAR, which is the contractor. And he starts the bidding process and getting numbers in so he can give us, I believe in July, we'll get a kind of a drop dead number, the guaranteed price. And then we negotiate that and get that in contract. And then we start construction probably in late September, early October is what I'm thinking. And it takes about 14 months to get it done. Right off the bat, we'll be purchasing things that are long lead items like electrical, air conditioner units, and things like that. So we'll do that right off the bat and spend money on those. We have our bond money. We'll keep going through, and we're waiting until we get the final cost to see kind of where we are. But I think we're in good shape.
You want to touch on the fire station progress too? When the fire station's going to start? And
yeah, it'll start. It's a shorter time period for that. It takes about 10 months. I think that they were going to do them kind of in concert. So they have their subcontractors here that can do work in both. But it'll take 10 months to get that one done. So we expect both of them to be done somewhere around the same time, but could be earlier.
I couldn't find the fee in here anywhere for what we charge ourselves if we run over more than the time.
We charge the CMR our fee.
Thank you.
That's why we're cutting everywhere we can.
You know,
Try to look at
I
that.
want to just add to the discussion of the city center. We're starting to look at furniture, and one really cool thing that I didn't know was available is the Texas Prism System makes office furniture. Quite nice.
Good furniture.
And it's very nice office furniture, and it's a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, fraction. Yeah.
So we're going to take advantage of that opportunity, and I think that's kind of neat. I like that.
It's only available to state or cities or counties. And so
That's the final outward plan of what it looks like. Has that been finalized?
yes, we're waiting for kind of a landscape plan to come out so we can kind of really see kind of where the landscape is. We are taking most of the landscape on ourselves.
Has the look of the building changed?
Yes, those risers on the top, they're gone.
They're gone. Okay, I figured that was going to.
Yeah, we've kind of been working it back and forth until we got to what we liked.
Would we get to see a new?
Yeah, I will at the budget meeting. I'll bring you some imagery and we'll talk about it in more depth because we'll be getting really closer to that cost number too.
Okay.
Jeff, I had a question on, West has had some issues with consistent trash pickup.
Yes.
Not only the time of day, but sometimes it never even gets done during that day.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
I'm aware of that. We met with Waste Management about a month ago, and they said they lost one of their longtime drivers here. I guess he went to work somewhere else in San Antonio. I think they lost a manager here too. And so they told us they were going to have to train somebody new. We told them we don't want to see the service drop, but it did drop. Recently, Rick had emailed them and they put another driver on there, and we're kind of monitoring that situation as it goes. But they are fully aware that we're not happy with them.
Yeah, they told us that starting this week, Tuesday, today, they were going to have a third. Do you want to talk about that? Because we did hear about it. Fortunately, we heard about it from a citizen.
Yeah,
because
right.
We've
They do have
having
a
a lot of
third-
calls.
Sorry, Mayor.
Go ahead. So, but we got right on it, and I hope that's.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they do have a third driver on now. And then as I've noticed in my email inbox, they're now letting me know every time they miss one anywhere, which is fine. Would be better than us hearing about it from the residents. But they did take serious. So I think they're doing due diligence to try to correct it. Did let them know if they didn't, that would bring other options in July for trash service. So that got their attention.
So Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to have three drivers.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you all hear of problems continued, we would
Send
very
me an
much
email.
like to know about it.
Yes. Yeah, let me know.
My place at 4:11 today, and usually it's 4 o'clock.
Mhm.
So
Good.
it's time to speak.
I told them to pick yours up early, specifically.
You're special.
Thank you. Are there any other staff reports? Okay. Then I am going to adjourn let me explain. We're going to adjourn and move into executive session. We will discuss issues, which I'll go into that. And then, so the public has to leave. And then when we come out of executive session, if there's anything to vote on, we'll go back. It will be public would be present. If you want to stay, you'll have to wait out on the patio. We don't have a place, unfortunately, for the public to wait. But that's the way it is. So I'm adjourned into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551-071, consultation with attorney for agenda item 8E and 11A. And I request 8E, which is a request of the fourth building permit extension for property located at 1902 Bay West Boulevard, Texas Custom Homes, and also for item 11A, consultation with city attorney regarding pending legislation, civil action number 1-21-CV-1156-RP, Legacy Housing Corporation versus City of Horseshoe Bay Property Owners Association, Jaffe Interest, Horseshoe Bay Resort, and Horseshoe Bay Resort, Inc. Did I do that right?
Yeah, and then since you moved to go into 8E
407.
as a motion,